We kicked off this week gripped with renewed fears of global conflict, and now just a few days later, we're staring down new all-time highs on the Nasdaq with Bitcoin and the S&P 500 not far behind. Altcoins like SEI are surging up over 100% this week alone. So the question is, what's next for the market as we close out this week? My name is Paul Sampson. Welcome to DataDash, everyone. Now, before we jump into today's charts, if you want daily updates, real-time trade setups, and direct access to my analysis, make sure to check out the DataDash Traders Club, available through our website at DataDashPro.com. Inside the Discord, this is where I share everything that you're about to see and more. I also share daily market updates, short-term and macro trade setups, educational breakdowns, and much more. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just getting started, this is where I post everything I'm watching across crypto, equities, commodities, and beyond. We've built a focused, no noise community of traders who are serious about leveling up, and I'm there every single day sharing the same charts and commentary I use to make my own decisions. So if you find value in these videos and want to go deeper, please check out DataDashPro.com and join us in the Traders Club today. All right, folks, in the last video, we were discussing a few different options here, and one of which being that shark that potentially takes Bitcoin down to 88,000 and 93,000. But before we got there, I was highlighting the $97,000 to $98,000 area for a potential bounce, and boy, did we get one from there. All right, now we front ran that $97,000 level, which I was looking at as the overall point of control, which is the highest area of traded volume that's taken place basically since last November. But I did highlight that we had a potential for a AB equals CD setup here, where you basically get this run up here, you get a B, C correction. And then from there, generally, we do see a continuation of trend. Now, one of two things were going to arise from this region. We just get a push back up into some major resistance, see a rejection, and then come down. So far, the reaction has been relatively strong here. So I did want to highlight that pretty nicely. And as textbook ABC as you could get, which all I'm going to do here is going to measure from the high here to the low and then basically project off of this region right here. And that's going to give us a perfect 1-to-1. And what that means is that if I was to be looking at this move right here and then to project the exact same move off of that high, it's going to give us the 1-to-1, which is basically 100% move off of that same pivot. And it did come down right into that area, right? Like 99, 98,000, depending on how you're looking at it. This is the daily time frame. And we got a bounce off of there. This was also where our quarterly VWAP was sitting. That's that red line right here. And then, yeah, we just have simply got a really nice bounce here. Now in the Traders Club, one other thing that I look to each and every single week is the previous week range. Okay. And this is a very helpful tool to be able to just identify some shorter term movement here. And last week we had basically the same exact movement when we had this huge move up. This was our Monday. So we had a previous range that was in this region here. So we basically rotated that range back to the downside. And then we started off this week trading around this region, which gave us a huge range to the upside here. So as soon as we were getting into this range, we were looking for a few key levels, one of which was a weekly pivot, which was around this region here, our weekly NPOC, which was our untapped point of control. So once again, the highest level of volume that took place during that time frame. And once we pushed through both of those and held them as support, I was looking for a rotation of the range, basically. So far, there's truly been no weakness here. We've pushed up into this region. We've reclaimed basically the mid side of the range here. We've reclaimed our point of control, and we've just slowly grinded up into this region here. Now, the next two major areas that we're going to be paying attention for is basically up here at $109,000. Now, personally, if we were to come up and start living above this region here, this is where things do seem to look more towards the all-time highs getting breached, and we would go from there, right? So at the moment, all we've done is a simple range rotation. However, the chart does look relatively strong. Is this an area where I would enter a long position or buy here? Not necessarily. I'm always going to look for the pullback, the retrace. The more healthier alternative is going to be looking for a little bit of a dip before you get anything higher. And personally, I'd be looking for a back test of this region here, basically back down to about $104,000, which is essentially right back into the middle of the range here, back to our point of control. This is also our 382 currently, right? So if we were looking at this in the sense of the low to high, and if we were just to have a really strong impulse move, get a little bit of a retrace, not necessarily all the way down to the gold pocket, but looking for that strong push up, shallow retrace to the 382, and then seek continuation. This is where I'd be looking for that bounce or the next opportunity, I suppose, to come in. It's not the most ideal, I will be honest with you, just because we've already seen such a move here. But if I was looking for anything, that's how I'd be viewing this at the moment. And then, of course, we'd gauge that if we were to lose it, look for more downside at that point. Now, before we dive deeper, folks, I want to take a moment to highlight one of our trusted channel partners, Kinesis Money. In a time where central banks are printing at record pace and trust in fiat currencies continues to erode, Kinesis offers a powerful alternative. They offer a monetary system backed one-to-one by physical gold and silver. When you hold Kinesis Gold or Kinesis Silver, you're not just holding a digital token, you're holding ownership to actual metal stored in audited vaults around the world. But what makes Kinesis different isn't just the backing, it's the ecosystem. And you can actually spend your metals with a debit card, earn yield simply for holding or using your gold and silver, and even send value instantly around the world without needing to convert to fiat. If you're looking to protect your wealth while still having the flexibility of digital finance, this is one of the most forward-thinking systems out there. And here's the best part. If you sign up using the code DataDash today, Kinesis is going to give you a free half ounce of silver to get started. That's real physical silver to kickstart your journey into sound money. Just head on over to the link down in our description below to sign up and enter the code DataDash during registration. As everybody may be aware, we had a new all-time high put in by the Nasdaq today, which we have come back a little bit in so far. So we're still pretty much trending and trading right around that region. So going to be important to see how we react around these levels here. Still could very well get a little bit of turmoil around these regions before we get a conclusive break out of this area. But still very important to note that just once again, earlier this week, fears were high, tensions were high, and just a few days go by and we're putting in new highs across the US markets here. So very interesting to note. The S&P 500 is not far behind, and then of course neither is Bitcoin. Now I wanted to take a look at SEI today as well, because we had such a big impulse move over the last week where we're seeing basically over 100% move depending on which exchange you're looking at. Now, this is not necessarily something I would chase by any means, and that's just myself. As far as risk management would go, I'm never going to be chasing a huge green candle by any means. The only thing you can look for here is a pullback to look for a new area to be considering getting in at. Of course, that is only if you are looking to get a new position. If you are already positioned, well, this is actually a pretty nice move up. We're back testing currently. This previous resistance as now support. So if we were to hold this and push higher, we have a couple of things here that I'd be targeting in the near term, one of which is our anchored VWAP from the previous high, which comes in around 36 cents. After that, the ultimate target here is more of a conservative area as far as a midterm would go over the next coming weeks, would be this region here. And if I was looking for a fresh entry into SEI, I would actually look for more of a retrace and a back test back again towards this 2024 low, back down at about 20 cents. For the ideal fresh entry if I was looking to get into a new position on the SEI. This would still hold the uptrend intact, right? Where we have our high, our higher low, our higher high, potentially a higher low in this region. And maybe it's not exactly 22 cents, whatever that region is. But for 20 cents, that's where I'd be looking to. And then ultimately, regardless, I'm targeting up into this 48 cents to 56 cents next on SEI. I wanted to also touch on XRP today because XRP was one of the very few that had such an incredible move at the end of the year last year, almost 600% to the upside. And since then, it's just been really consolidating to the side. And one thing I've really wanted to note is that when we get into these positions, it's really important to note the ranges that we are trading in. And this one specifically has been pretty good. Now, while there's been deviations above and below for the most part, we were trending in this region pretty tightly. And one of the biggest areas I was looking for personally was this $2 weekly NPOC, which is a naked point of control, an untapped point of control. Basically, it's just an inefficiency from that we left back in this region. It was also right below all the lows. So as far as liquidity would go, we came down and we basically took all those lows and we've reclaimed this range really nicely. And regardless of what ultimately happens at the end of the day, while I do target this area as the next major resistance on XRP before a sizable correction, we are trading back inside the range. We've hit a key region. We've taken liquidity out of this region. There's no reason to not assume we will probably push back up towards 240. That's still our line in the sand for any more upside. Aside from that, we're just pretty much range bound. But flipping 240, I would look to rotate this range yet again at 262, and then conclusively breaking out of this region, I would would target up into this area where I'd look for the next sizable correction at that point. Now, folks, that's going to wrap it up for today's update. But if you're looking to take things further, don't forget you can join the DataDash Traders Club over at DataDashPro.com. Link is down in the description below. Get access to all my daily market updates, all the charts and more that you just saw today, real-time setups, direct insights that I do not share anywhere else. And if you're serious about protecting your wealth, make sure to check out Kinesis Money, a monetary system backed by real gold and silver, and be sure to use the code DataDash when signing up and you'll receive a free ½ ounce of silver to get started. Again, both the links are down in the description below. Be sure to check it out. Thank you again so much for tuning in. I'll see you all in the next video, and until then, everybody, cheers.